You know, like when you first think about it, you kind of think breeding laws and how they would benefit our society, right? Because you hear about all these like horrible stories where people are like abusing their children in these horrible ways, of course, and then they're just doing stupid shit like naming their damn baby hashtag. You know, like I'm gonna have hashtag approve my fucking second mortgage in like 20 years. Like I don't think so.
What's going on, world? You are now tuned in to Boycott Magazine, and today what you're about to experience is 4 interviews on the subject to produce or not produce children in today's society. It's a very sensitive subject, but in today's crazy times, I think it's very necessary. Very. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the footage. Peace.
I'm definitely for children coming into this world because they're the future. Everything that we're working for, we have to pass it down to someone. And without children, what's the point?
I'm not having kids. I think I'd have some pretty awesome kids. They'd probably have some slight emotional problems and some neurotic tendencies, but I think a lot of it is we're set so much in society to believe that you follow this certain plan where you go to school and everyone learns the same and you're taught right is wrong, or you're taught you know, what's right and what's wrong. You know, you're getting a question wrong, that's wrong. It's just the wrong thing, and the right thing to do is to you know, be heterosexual, get into a union that's honored by some religious deity, and then you procreate, you flourish in your company, and you retire with a gold watch. And really, like, if you think about it, like, this all kind of came about, in my opinion, from the Hayes Law, out of the Prohibition era, from when Charlie Chaplin and Fatty Arbuckle were, like, screwing underage girls and fucking prostitutes and raping them and killing them and shit.
How do you feel about people that come from abusive families having children?
I feel that it doesn't come back to, oh, these degenerates shouldn't breed, or oh, these people of Walmart, or these psychopathic killers shouldn't breed. It doesn't come down to that. It comes down to what we're doing as a nation and the awareness that we have and what we're creating. And I'm sure that the majority of us would all agree that the blinders are on pretty tight, you know? All they want us to do is procreate and keep creating that Norman Rockwell type of fantasy without giving us any more education on how to better ourselves when we don't come from places where we really can better ourselves.
How do you feel about adopting children?
I don't understand why there's not more attention focused on adopting children. I almost feel as if we should be obliged to have one adopted child in every house that already has children, or people that, you know, really want to have a baby and can. They need to get that. I think the adoption process needs to be simplified. But why wouldn't you want to adopt, right? Like, why wouldn't? There's so many children that have been had and been tossed aside, and they're just sitting there waiting to be pulled out of a home. And I don't understand why we don't, as a nation, do something to promote this more and to make it more acceptable. Like, if we're doing all this other nonsense of, oh, get together, marry, procreate, do all this, then why can't we do this in other ways that are obviously beneficial to the whole economy and to just all of society? And, you know, I feel very strongly, I think I would probably adopt before I even procreate if I were to want to have children.
Oh, absolutely, I'm for it. You know, that's what I do. I'm an educator. I'm a musician and educator.
Well, what about after seeing about those the Newtown, Connecticut murders, all those children dying? I mean, don't you think it's kind of dangerous bringing a kid into today's society after seeing those young children getting shot and killed?
Well, you know, that's nothing. You know, the sad thing about that is that has happened so much in this country that it doesn't surprise anyone anymore, which is sad to say. After Columbine and after a lot of the massacres that went on at the, what was the college? Another college.
Virginia.
What was it?
Virginia Tech College?
Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And even before that, there were other mass murders.
Batman premiere.
Yeah, and it's become a part of American culture now, and it's just like when it happens, nobody's surprised. It's like, oh, another one of those Columbine, another blah 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 this, and it's sad because all of that stuff is just a result of the envelope being pushed too far in the media. TV, you can turn on the TV and just about see everything on TV is violence. All the video games are violence. It started even when I first saw the game Grand Theft Auto, and I saw a kid playing it, and I really saw what the game was about. I was appalled. I was really, really just like, wow, this is what they're putting into these kids' hands now. And so you're not surprised that the kids are acting out the way they're acting out, because that's all they know. They know violence. They know they're just acting out what they see in the media.
How do you feel about couples that want to rush into having a child because their clock is ticking versus having a child when they're ready?
Well, in biblical days, where girls were bearing children as soon as they were getting their period. They were bearing. I mean, you read the Bible. I mean, as soon as the girl was 15 or 16, she was having children. But now in today's society, that's not that's not the standard. So I don't have any problem with women rushing to have children, because that's the way God meant it. I mean, that you can't go against the law of nature. I mean, if the body clock says that, hey, that's what it is, that's what it is, that's what God made it.
Right.
It's man that's made it such a bad thing to have children. After age 32 or before age 32. God meant for you to have children in your 20s, or in your teens. But it does because of the societal demands and the standards that are set by society to say that this is wrong to do that. That's what we live by.
Yeah.
Me personally, I am pro producing children. I think that as long as you're doing it in a responsible manner, if it's planned, or as long as you're able to take care of them, then it shouldn't be a huge issue.
After hearing about the Sandy Hook murders and the Batman premiere back in July and the China stabbing, where does that put your mind frame of having children? I mean, doesn't that kind of scare you, of bringing somebody into this world?
It makes me worried that on a mental health standpoint, having children who have such severe mental health issues is what worries me. But I mean, that's my field. That's not something that that would deter me entirely from having children at all. It's scary. It's scary because other people aren't as responsible, it doesn't even matter on that. You're having a kid, you put them out in the world, you can't protect them every moment of the day. But, that's life. I can't just stay in my house all day long. Something could happen to me, but my parents chose to have me. Things happen, and that's not, I wish that wasn't the world that we live in, that we had to be prepared for that kind of tragedy to happen. And I would never wish that on absolutely anyone, but there have to be responsible children out there and good people out there that are produced, and in order to balance out, there has to be a balance between all of this horrific news and all of these people who are doing terrible things. There are people out there who are doing wonderful things every day, and there has to be a balance in that.
Okay, good deal. What about women that want to have children because their clock is ticking, or they feel it's their duty?
That's difficult to say, because you may feel like your clock is ticking and you could end up being a fantastic parent. You could feel like it's your duty because of your tradition or your upbringing or whatever reason, and not really be into parenting and just want to have a kid. That's kind of scary to me. People who have children like they're an accessory and kind of forget that you have to take care of them and teach them throughout their life. I mean, school is not the only place where they're going to learn how to be in the world. And that's what worries me the most, is that these people are just not taking care, not caring what they're learning, how they're learning. If they are, open and caring people, sometimes they just have a kid, send them out in the world, breastfeed for a little while, and then that's it. And that's the kind that scare me